Hi, Jackie. How
Hi!
have you been?
I've been wonderful. How have you been?
I've been great too. I mean, aside from the pandemic, everything's going pretty well for me.
Minor detail.
Yeah. The last time I saw you was what, interview wise was
Right.
2018 for HentaiCon.
It has
As
been a minute. It has, yes, but that wonderful experience that was HentaiCon. I try to avoid it just because, like, every time I mention it, it's all of a sudden this slew of questions like, wait, what? Why were you there? What happened? And still to this day, like that's the first thing that pops up when you Google my name is that interview. So it's just like, oh gosh, yep, I did that. I went to HentaiCon.
I believe that was your very first time being invited to as a guest, right?
First time as a guest. I think you were my first interview ever. So a lot of firsts there. Yeah, you got to start somewhere, right?
I don't know. How was your experience as HentaiCon
You
actually?
know,
Because
I went in going, this is either going to be really fun or the creepiest thing ever. And it ended up being so much fun. Like, everybody was like, really, like, we understood what was going on here. And, like, we're just going to have fun and not be creepy about it. There were some creeps. There were, of course, some creeps. But for the most part, everybody was just, like, having a good time with it. And, the virtual reality room was my favorite. That was a good time.
so many questions there.
There's probably a reason it only happened 1 year.
Yeah, 2018, and after that, it just like kind of you never heard from it again.
Nope.
It was just not. There was plans for HentaiCon 2019, and it just like
Hmm.
flop.
Yeah, I think the hotel said no. Like
Oh,
a month before the
right.
convention was supposed to happen, like they had planned, they had gotten guests and everything, and then they were just like a month out. They're like, okay, we don't have a venue anymore.
And of course, we're talking about pre-COVID time, so
Right.
I'm using pre-COVID as a term because that's a thing now.
I saw BC the other day, like before COVID,
Huh.
instead of like, the original BC, and I was just like, has it come to this? Have we really created this? All right. All right, the memes from this whole debacle have been wonderful. It's gotten me through so much. I can't even imagine how I would have gotten through this year without not even internet, but just like games. Like just gaming, I
Among
would have
Us.
gone, I would have lost my mind. Among Us, yes. Fall Guys. Animal Crossing came out right as the pandemic hit, and I have never played so much in such a concentrated amount of time. I think it was almost 300 hours in the first 2 weeks. I'm doing nothing else. I'm not sleeping. I'm not eating. I'm literally just playing Animal Crossing. The only way that we could get like socialization or like some hint of the outside world, like, I'm fishing. I'm watching the sunset. I'm really not, but I feel like I'm there. Life. There's life outside of these walls.
So tell me more about what you've been doing work-wise.
It's been a lot. It's been very busy. I'm very, very fortunate that I have been working, and somehow ever since the pandemic hit and redone my entire audio system at home and booth, it's been even more. Somehow I've made it out okay throughout all of this and been able to actually get kind of a jump and work with studios that I never got the chance to work with before because where we are and my availability now has opened up. So that's opened up more resources. But it's been wonderful. I'm getting to do what I love every single day, and it's great.
Of course, now you're working, like you said, you're working from home. That's a whole new entire setup you got to do because, of course, now he's not visiting or going to the studio like Bang Zoom Entertainment and such, and now you're working at home. Can you explain how that experience was for you? Like, all of a sudden, one day you're like, hey, you know what? They call you up. We can't have you here anymore. We'll have to do it at home, and this is the stuff you might want to get.
It was terrifying. I have a very small apartment, so I didn't know, first of all, where I was even going to put this new booth because I knew that if I didn't get the booth, I had no idea when I was going to start working again. I knew it wasn't going to be the 2 weeks that they had originally said, oh yeah, we're just going to be shut down for 2 weeks. We'll be back. I knew that wasn't going to happen. Um, we had some engineers that did this wonderful kind of PSA at the very beginning and was just like, hey, if you're a working actor, this is kind of the equipment that you should be looking at, and different like price ranges. So I went out and just got, what I needed to create something. My booth is like a bunch of moving blankets and PVC pipes, and it gets the job done, whatever you got. But I was so afraid when this first happened, because I'm just like, I'm using a little USB mic. My setup is nowhere near professional recording capabilities. But just went out there and learned a whole lot about audio and built a PC, and now I'm finally up to snuff and finally getting the sound that I need and working more than ever. I will say the biggest downside is internet lag. Since it is dubbing to picture, being right there and knowing exactly how to time everything is very important. So now I tell everybody that dubbing right now is just like casting your line out into the void and hoping the sound gods somehow pick it up and place it. I don't know how the engineers are doing it. I feel so incredibly bad for all of them right now, because they're having to work so much harder than ever before, because now they've got to pick up our slack. We don't know what we're doing. We're trying to learn the best we can, but at the end of the day, we were actors first. We were ready for this.
But I think everyone right now is working double time. You as an actress, you've been like working. Not only did you have to learn all this stuff that you mentioned, but I'm pretty sure down the line you're like, okay, well, how is this going to turn? So I finished this project, and now how am I going to deal with the other project now?
Yes. Yes, there's a lot of juggling. It is a lot easier because there's no commute anymore. So I could just be like, okay, well, I only need to wake up or start getting ready, an hour, 2 hours before. I don't need to start thinking about like, okay, how's traffic gonna be, all that. I can just focus on what I need to do. It has helped me. I think it's helped me a lot because I get a lot of social anxiety. So even being in that booth with like 1 or 2 other people staring at me, it still kind of like puts me in this mode. But like being in my closet and being in like my own little thing, I don't get to see anybody. It's just kind of helped me kind of internalize everything and just focus on what I'm doing and not caring about what's happening around me.
So you mentioned closet. Is that a metaphor, or did you actually put your...
Oh, no, I'm literally in my closet. No,
oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
My booth is in my closet to get that extra soundproofing.
What other recent projects have you done?
Right now we have Genshin Impact, which has stolen all of my life. I'm playing that game all the time. What else? We have Misfit of Demon King Academy. Just came out. The Night is Short. Walk On Girl.
Love that movie.
Oh, it was so good. I'm so happy to be a part of that.
Congratulations, by the way, because I remember the movie came out by Cheat Kids. They released it, right? Not English dubbed or anything. And I was wondering, is this going to be English dubbed? I doubt it, because it's already out on Blu-ray. So it's probably just going to release it like that. And then I heard that you were doing it. I'm like, whoa! So they are. That's pretty.
They are. It was never planned. They never intended to do a dub. It is very, very Japanese. Like there's a lot of little symbolism and all that is very culturally specific.
Yeah,
and so they were worried that it wouldn't translate well, but they just got this amazing team together, and I think it translates really well. I was dying. I was laughing the entire time.
It was... You play the main character.
Yeah, it was my first lead. I was terrified of the responsibility. Stephanie Shea was directing, which I've always looked up to, so I was very intimidated, but she made me feel very relaxed, and it was a great experience all around. She was doing all the recording, all the directing, which that was my first experience ever with a director who was engineering at the same time. I'd never encountered that, and so I was just blown away just how talented she was doing all that at once.
And now, the character that you've all been waiting for, Xiangling. So let's switch the conversation here for a bit and talk about your character in Genshin Impact as Xiangling.
She's wonderful. She is a pyro crazy chef who eats absolutely anything she can get her hands on, and it's delicious. You don't want to ask what's in her meals because it's really gross stuff, but it tastes wonderful. No, she's a great character. She's so much stronger than I thought she was going to be for a 4-star. She's a great addition to the team. Her ult is super fun. Never expecting it to get the reception that it has seemed to have gotten, and I've been loving seeing all the fan art and seeing just how everybody's receiving it and loving it and playing the game, and I'm in heaven.
Have you tried cooking any of
No, unfortunately, pyro slimes are really hard to come by. It's very strange. I should though. We did So Genshin Impact was doing a collaboration with KFC pretty recently, but only in China, unfortunately. And to celebrate, I did a joint stream with some of the people from Color World. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they do an online convention. And we did a fried chicken cooking stream to kind of celebrate and cook, and we made it. It was a thing. It was cute. I enjoyed it. And we got to eat chicken, so, win-win.
Can you explain how you got involved into Genshin Impact?
I worked on a game called The Somnium Files back in 2019. And the director of that also directs Genshin Impact. So when Chris Paya. And when when they first started casting, they asked him for recommendations, and he recommended a bunch of us from that game, which is why you see a bunch of people from The Somnium Files in Genshin Impact, as he all just brought us over there. And so I got an email saying I got a call back, and I was very confused because I did not audition in the first place. And that usually doesn't happen. So up until walking into the audition, which is another weird thing, auditions are usually held you just submit your files, but this was in person. And I walked in and I was just I don't remember doing this. I'm very confused. And they're like, oh, no, you didn't. We just called it a callback because you were recommended. I was like, oh, okay, sure, I'll take it. I'll do it. And I fell in love with the character immediately. And yeah, the rest is history.
Long story short. So let's speak about your character in Yashahime. So congratulations for that.
Thank you. I'm over the moon. I play Kinu in Yashahime. She is Morocco and Sango's daughter. When I stepped into that booth and I heard Kagome talk, because Kagome, the original people recorded first. And so I was able to hear them while I was recording, and I cried, absolutely cried, 3 times while in that booth. And I was only in that booth for a half hour. Inuyasha was my first anime crush growing up. I was always watching that every single night. I adored Inuyasha. I knew all the songs. And so just to even have just the smallest little part, I was just over the moon. I was so happy. I'm so glad to be a part of it.
I know that's a huge honor. I mean, like you said, Inuyasha was one of my very first animes, aside from Pokemon and Digimon, of course. Inuyasha was one of the... I remember Inuyasha being there, always when I needed something to cheer me up.
Yes.
Yeah. My favorite character, personally, was Koga.
Yeah.
And Miroku, too, as well.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, Korimoro is no longer with us, which it literally ripped my heart out, because, he not only dubbed Miroku, but also was, I think, part in our childhoods for, such a long time.
Oh, for sure.
So, that was just, I was really heartbroken for that.
Yes. I felt very fortunate that I was at least able to work with him once on one episode. I'm sure whoever picks up his role is going to do wonderfully. But yeah, it was very heartbreaking when that happened.
So last time I saw you again, you had such a small profile on behind the voice actors, and now you have this extensive profile. Congratulations about that.
Thank you.
You're doing work. You're showing a lot there.
Thank you. I've been working very hard and try my best, and I keep getting called in, so I'm gonna keep doing it and keep trying it and building up my skills. I just hope it keeps going well. Every once in a while, like it's really hard. It's really easy to get sucked into the rejection sometimes, because we do get a lot of it. So it's hard to like really step back and appreciate what you're doing. But there's sometimes where I'm just like, I sit back and I'll watch an anime that I've worked on, or look at my resume or building reels sometimes, and I'll just be like, wow, I'm really doing what I want to do. Like this is my dream. This is so cool.
I think on an outside perspective, it's good to see your career on the outside, because then you realize how much you've done so far over the years, as opposed to you yourself looking at it and you're like, oh, I'm not doing so well. I recently had that experience where I had someone tell me, you're doing pretty well, and I had a little bit of depression like maybe 2 weeks ago, and somebody had told me, hey, you know what, looking at this, you've done pretty well. And then they started telling me their perspective of it, and it made me realize, like, oh yeah, you know what, yeah, you're right, I shouldn't feel bad for myself. It's actually pretty good,
Absolutely. It's
worse,
easy when you're going through each day and you just get wrapped up in what you're doing, and it's easy to just be like, the next thing, I gotta be working on the next thing, I gotta get my name out there more, I gotta be doing stuff. But like, you really gotta step back and appreciate what you've done, and you've come a long way. I see you doing interviews all the time, and just all sorts of content that you're busting out there. So that's amazing. So you should be proud of yourself.
Thus far, what has been like your favorite character you've voiced?
Aset from Somnio Files. For sure. She was that whole experience was just a crazy ride. And we were recording, the longest recording I've done. Longest project that I've done. Like, we were recording for probably 5 months, 6 months. And it was just, I loved her character. I loved how just peppy she was. I loved the singing. I loved the dancing. It was so much fun. She had such a good message.
You had a panel, like a tour type of thing going on at AX 2019, right? How was
Yep. Oh my gosh. That was...
Well, we took a picture together once that happened.
Yes. I did the whole cosplay. We had like a little mini concert where I like came out. I memorized the dance that she did, and so I performed the dance, and then we had like a panel, and it was just amazing. They had giant cutouts of all the characters. It was the most fun I have ever had at a con. I got to meet some of the fans, and some of the fans had come from across the entire country just to see that panel. And it just blew me away. I think that was the first time that I had gone to like a convention and just had that experience that I got to actually meet the fans one-on-one, and it blew me away. I was speechless. I was going home afterward just going, oh, this was so cool.
Like a big giant roller coaster ride, and you had just
It was a huge roller coaster ride. It was so much fun. I was not prepared. I was terrified because it was like the first panel, my first big panel, and there was a lot of pressure, but I just loved every second of it. Everybody was so warm and welcoming.
So far, you've worked on so many series, but I think the one that you're currently working on, or at least the very first one that comes out once I do the IMDb search, is ReZero, the Prophecy of the Thrones?
Yes. Mm-hmm. The Prophecy of the Thrones, I play Puka, who is a little spirit squirrel thing, kind of like Puck, if you're familiar with the series. And she's just feisty and adorable and strong. And that was, to this day, the hardest recording session I've ever had. It was, I don't want to spoil too much, but she does turn demonesque because you have to use her to fight. So there was, so she growls, and she has a lot of demon monster noises when she is transformed. And I was not prepared for this level of screaming. And so it was like 2 straight hours of just guttural roars and screams, and it was afterwards I'm just like, okay, I can't talk anymore for the next 2 days. Yeah, this was fun. Thanks, guys. But no, it was great to be a part of it. I've been watching ReZero for years, so I love the characters and I love the franchise. I was thrilled to be in it.
I see here on IMDb that you have a, and it's on post-production, so I'm not sure if you can speak about this, but State of Dissolution?
Oh my goodness. That is something, that is an on-camera thing that I did. It must have been like 7-8 years now. And it was the smallest little part, and it's been in post-production for so many years. So I don't even know what's going to come of that, or if I'm ever going to see, because that happens sometimes. You'll work on something and then never see what comes over it. My first role, my first professional voice acting role, I have no idea what the title is. I don't know what game it is. It was a game. I was an announcer, but I was too afraid to ask what the title was because it was like under a code name when I went in, and I was so like intimidated that I'm like, I don't even want to ask what the game is because I don't want to get in trouble. So to this day, I have no idea.
I remember that was my experience too when I did a game. I didn't even ask for the name of it. I just went in there, did my thing, and they're like, okay, you're good, you can go out. And they offered me like, hey, you can go out or just stay here and watch the other actors do the thing. And so I figured, okay, I could be there and get to, see how they're doing it, so maybe I can learn something from them. And so I remember like walking out of the studio, not very intimidated, not even asking, hey, what's the name of the project I just did? Because I was so afraid they would like,
I've even I've tried to find it. Like I've looked, I remember the director because I've worked with the director since then on multiple projects, and we have no idea what this game was. I don't know. It is out there. It's a thing I did. I don't know.
I was also trying to Google it like a long time ago when this had first, happened, like maybe a year after. I tried to Google whatever project I was in because it told me the character's name, and I'm like, okay, well let's Google the character. It was a minor character, like a very very minor character, and I Googled it and nothing came out of it. I'm like, maybe I'll Google the species because I could have sworn they told me about the species of the character, or the name. Maybe maybe it's not the name of the character, maybe it's the species. So I put the species name, nothing came out of it, and I just gave up. And then one day I hear like my friend text me, hey, I got this new game. Is this you? Because like in the credits it's like you on it, and I'm like, what?
Oh my god!
I look at it and I'm like, where? Because he had on the Nintendo Switch you can do the recording thing, and this is like years ago. So I did the project years ago, and only when the Nintendo Switch came out did it actually came out, right?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, right. And I was like, yeah, there we go. Citizens of Space, released by Sega. There you go.
Well, I'm so happy that you were able to figure it out. That's so wonderful.
Well,
maybe one day I will. My characters, I was like just announcer. I'm like this little girl. I have like a British accent, and I'm just like, it's a fighting game. So I'm like, I say stuff like first kill and destruction and stuff like that. It was very fantasy. There were a lot of creatures, I remember.
Someone's gonna look at this and be like, hey, maybe it was this game?
Maybe!
There you go, it was that.
I know it was directed by Jamie Mortarello, or Mortar-Yarrow. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I've only seen it written. But yeah, I know he was the director. That's all I got.
Is there any tips or advice you can give to upcoming voice actors that you've learned from our first interview all the way to today?
Absolutely. Honestly, this is something that you need to work on every day. If you really want to do this, and I'm not talking about like hours slaving away at this. I'm talking like 15 minutes a day. That is all you need. Just read out loud. Read a book. Try to maintain the same. If you're working on character voices, try to keep the same voice throughout a paragraph. It's a lot harder than it sounds. Acting classes are huge. I hear so many people that are just like, oh, I can make a funny voice. It's more than that. It is absolutely, voice lessons are important, but acting lessons are huge and very underrated for voice actors, for what upcoming voice actors. Learn about the industry, learn what it takes, learn the process of coming. What does it take to get an anime from Japanese to English? It blew my mind, the amount of steps, the amount of people that it has to go through before each thing is produced. And that's just an anime. That's not even original. So learn the industry, learn about what you love, and try it. You know, the worst that can happen is you don't get it, but at least you tried and you put your heart out there. And don't, you know, if you really want it, really try. Really put the effort into it. You would be surprised what you can do when you really put your heart into it. You have to decide what you want. I hear a lot of people tell me, like, I love performing, but I'm too shy. I was so shy when I first started. I was terrified of speaking in public. But you fake it till you make it, really, and you act confident, and eventually you learn how to be confident and perform for people, and you just got to figure out what's important to you. And if you really want it, then go all in, do it.
All right. Before we go, can you do some voices? And those voices are the
Oh, sure.
Can you do the voice of your character from Yashahime?
Oh gosh, what does she say when she's playing with Shippo? I think they just go, Shippo, Shippo! It's just she's just adorable and saying all these cute little things.
Which is essentially what she's saying is just tails.
Yes, yep.
For those who didn't know, Shippo means tail.
Help! My dinner's attacking me!
I love her so much.
Unfortunately, though, we've ran out of time. Thank you so much, Jackie, again, for being on the show. You've done so much since last time I've seen you.
I will try to keep it up. Thank you so much. I've loved talking with you and catching up. This has been wonderful. It's great to see you again.
Once COVID is over, then maybe we could all hang out and, you know, do something.
Yes.
Go to a bar or something. I don't know.
Yes. Yes. Social life. Yes. Conventions, please.
Right. Thank you.
Be careful. Wear your mask. Social distance.
And get that vaccine. Please, people, get that vaccine. I'm going to start promoting the vaccine now.
Oh gosh, what did this turn into? Oh,
PCA. All right, you guys. Thank you so much again to Jackie for joining us. It's been a pleasure, as usual.
It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for watching this incredible interview with the talented Jackie Lastra. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any more upcoming interviews coming your way soon. In the meantime, I'll leave you with these fun and intriguing Genshin Impact interviews I know you'll love. Also, make sure you guys check out the community tab on our YouTube channel to keep updated on our upcoming interviews and ways you can participate in asking questions to our guests. All that and more coming to you soon. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.